Welcome to Joe's Astrology, and this is the birth chart of Alex Pretti, the protester who was recently killed. His birthday is November 9th, 1988, and this is not the correct rising. He's not born at 12 p.m. There's no birth time. But let's take a look at this. First thing that jumps out at me here, Venus in Libra, the lover of justice. And you can see he's got this stellium in Scorpio. The moon is probably in Scorpio, but we don't know exactly where it is without having the birth time. But having all of this Scorpio, this could be somebody who is very extreme in their efforts to help people. Pluto is extremes. Pluto often gets a bad rap, Scorpio, but for someone who wants to help people, cares about people, very emotional. These kinds of things can express themselves where the person goes to the extremes to help people. I believe they said he was a intensive care unit nurse, so that makes sense for sure. Not afraid to get their hands dirty to help people and be around some of the more extreme situations in life. And you can see his Mercury here. His Mercury is in Scorpio at 4 degrees, and it's making a inconjunct to Mars. Mars down here in Aries. Mars in Aries where it likes to be. So this person can be, there's a lot of Mars in this chart because Mars also rules Scorpio. Mars is just entering here in Aries. Really showing that this person can be very impulsive in their efforts, in their emotional efforts to help people. You see his North Node in Pisces, emotional sign as well. And just somebody who's really jumping in there to help without thinking or not being very cautious about it. And we can see that this Mars is making an inconjunct to Mercury. 150 degrees, and you can see this is if we go around the houses here, this is an eighth house inconjunct, and we loosely could describe this as someone who's speaking out, someone who's perhaps losing his life for speaking out. Eighth house being death. Scorpio, eighth house, Mars, representing death in life. And here we see this Mars and Mercury. Someone who's jumping out and speaking out very quickly, without caution, and then losing his life. We can also see that there's this Jupiter-Mercury inconjunct. Jupiter's here in Gemini, and you can definitely see Gemini and Mercury, really Gemini-Mercury influencing this man. Especially you can see that that Mars is at 0 degrees between the two signs. Very Gemini-like, having that Mars right at 0 degrees. The Jupiter in Gemini is making an exact sextile. The Jupiter here is retrograde, really indicating that he's redoing something that has to do with speaking out, that has to do with fighting for truth. Jupiter fighting for some kind of cause, and you can see it's making an inconjunct back to that Mercury as well, but this time it's a 6th house inconjunct. So very much with this kind of aspect between Mercury and Jupiter, very much figuring something out, thinking excessively about these things, thinking that would cause him to act. And then we can see here he also has some planets, including Saturn in Sagittarius. Saturn is with Uranus. This guy really would feel obligated to help, perhaps obligated to help those in need, and those experiencing traumatic situations in life. And you can see his south node is here in Virgo, where he's coming into life, also ruled by Mercury. So very much that nurse-like helper or service person who would, in what it seems like, would want to be of service as much as possible in the life. But I want to come back to this moon here in Scorpio. The moon, more likely than not, is going to be closer on the Sagittarius side. So I'm just going to speculate here and say that, imagine that if the moon was closer to this 10 degrees or 11 degrees of Sagittarius, it would be squaring the nodes. And it might not be, but let's say it was squaring the nodes. Very much a back and forth, showing a back and forth between Pisces and Virgo, with a real need to resolve this Virgo. Where does he want to be of service? And more specifically, with the moon involved, very emotional when it comes to these Sagittarius themes of what's right and wrong, morality. And when we look at this Jupiter Mercury, we see that there's many instances in life where this person would be thrown back into this Virgo space to really analyze his actions and his decisions, and analyze his philosophies in life, perhaps to learn lessons that I'm not going to get into in this without speaking to the man himself. I'll quickly go through the transits. There's Pluto here at 3 degrees at this event. Pluto here at 3 degrees is squaring this Mercury that I spoke of. You can see it's almost an exact square, that he would have issues at this time with his voice. You know, if you were an astrologer and someone like this came to you and talked about protesting in a very dangerous situation that a person could be in during this time in that area, the astrologer would advise him to stay home unless he wanted to get into some trouble. And you can see that Pluto is also sextiling the Mars there. It's also making a trine to the Jupiter. Perhaps this could have been a very fated event in this person's life. And there could be more transits. I'm not going to look at them at this moment. So thanks for watching. And if anyone is looking for readings, I am doing readings right now for only $50. You can email me. And again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.